Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, November 28th, 2022. So this will have covered the week of November 21st through the 27th of 2022. After just how insanely crazy and productive the last week or so was, this week was definitely a bit of a slowdown, but definitely not in any sort of a bad way. I'm very happy with the progress I made this week, given that I was, well, honestly, pretty busy during this past week with Thanksgiving and everything, so didn't really have as much time to play as I normally would. So I'm very happy with the progress I did manage to make this week. But first off, I do want to say a quick note about an old game. I'm actually going to scroll down to it here. So, Far Cry 6. Apparently, in the next couple of days, we're going to get an announcement of a new DLC for this game as well as a Game of the Year edition. Why they decided that Far Cry 6 was worthy of a Game of the Year edition, I have no idea, because it's one of the worst entries in the franchise. But apparently the game is going to get some new DLC, and I have no idea what it's going to be like. But apparently, according to the leaked achievement list, people think it might be another one of those sort of roguelike type of DLCs, you know, procedurally, not really procedurally generated, but like die, you have to restart everything. And the only way I would have accepted any of this is if it was another Become the Villain, but for the Jackal from Far Cry 2, because that game is so heavily underrated. But yeah, apparently there's going to be a DLC for this with another set of trophies. So not looking forward to having to actually go back and play this game for trophies again. But apparently that's going to be announced sometime in this coming week, though I don't know exactly when the DLC itself is going to release. So just giving that quick bit of knowledge for anyone who is concerned about Far Cry 6. But anyway, this week I obtained one platinum trophy by finishing off Destroy All Humans Clone Carnage. And let's see, it took me about maybe 3 days total to get the platinum, because I think that, yeah, on the 20th, was that the first trophy I got? Yep, so the 20th, or actually no, did I start on the 19th? I started on the 20th, okay. So it took me just, 2 days pretty much to get the platinum trophy, or 3 days, technically the 20th, 21st, and the 22nd. So it's a very, very quick and easy platinum trophy. I actually wrote a trophy guide for the game because I don't think there is one anywhere for trophies or achievements. There are guides for specific trophies and achievements, but not like a full comprehensive guide as far as I'm aware. So this is a very easy platinum trophy as long as you are willing to boost it. If you aren't willing to boost it, I still don't think it would be all that difficult to do, even if you didn't boost it, but given how dead the game is, and especially certain game modes, it would take a lot longer, and it probably still would definitely be more troublesome. So right here, you have to win a match in each of the 4 game modes, which are Abduction, Armageddon, Race, and Rampage. So you have to win one online match in each game mode. Of course, you can boost this. I ended up boosting it with both Ghost and Killer. So 3 of us total. So if you're only boosting with one other partner, you could speed things up even just a little bit more because you'd only have 2 people that need to get everything. But given that you have to play 100 matches anyway, it really did not matter if it took a few extra tries to get through everything. Because you have to complete 100 online matches. And this is probably going to be the last trophy you obtain. The easiest way to do it is just to do Santa Modesta's Race, because the time limit on it is 1 minute and 20 seconds. So you can literally just sit there for 1 minute and 20 seconds and then just ready up between each game, and you'll get it knocked out in just a couple of hours. Or if you really want to speed things up, one player can just run through the course in a little bit over 1 minute, including the 10-second timer at the end, and knock it out just a little bit faster, but that is totally up to you how much effort you actually want to put into it. Then you have the hardest trophy in the actual online multiplayer. You have to go into Abduction and you have to find a special abduction target in each of the 6 maps of Abduction. This has to be done in the online mode, and it will only unlock for the player, or you only make progress for whichever player actually abducts the target. It doesn't go toward every single player in the lobby, so you'll have to do it however many times for however many people are in the lobby. So on the first map, you have to abduct a Majestic agent. On the second map, you have to get a radioactive cow. On the third map, you have to get the mayor. On the fourth map, you have to get General Armquist. On the fifth map, you have to get a certain specific civilian that's like a military contractor. And on the final map, you have to get the president. Now, it is completely random as to where and when each of these characters will spawn at in each round, and they each only spawn once per match. So it may take several tries for you to start figuring out where they are or what they look like. But once again, given that you have to play 100 matches anyway, it's really not that big a deal. It'll just get you progress towards your 100 matches. Then you have the hardest actual trophy in the game if you're boosting everything. You have to get a 3-star rating on the local multiplayer co-op challenges. However, this trophy is a lot easier than we initially thought it was, because what you can actually do is you don't have to get 3 stars on every map. You only have to get 3 stars on one map in each of the 2 specific local multiplayer co-op game modes. One of those is Abduction, and the other one is Rampage. Rampage is actually super easy. You can do it on the Rockwell level because all you have to do is kill cows using specific weapons, namely the Disintegrator and Ion Detonator, as well as the Zap-O-Matic. Super, super easy. The difficult part is that you have to do Abduction, and it's best to do it on Turnip Seed Farm. It's pretty tricky to do if you're doing it solo, because for anything that's in local multiplayer, you need 2 controllers to do it. But if you have another human player that can stop by for 5 minutes just to knock out the trophy with you, you probably get it in the first try. The problem is, though, if you're trying to do it with 2 players where there's only, one person actually playing and the other controller sitting idle, it will probably take several tries to get enough cows abducted to get the points needed. So we ended up doing it in share play, and that allowed us to get it within, 1 or maybe 2 tries each. So I would highly recommend considering going into share play. If you are struggling with it solo, if you can't get it after a few tries, go make a gaming session, get a partner to do it in share play, and you'll be able to knock it out that way. Just keep in mind that only the host will get the trophy and get progress toward the trophy. Then you have to win a race in online multiplayer, as well as a match in Armageddon, Abduction, and Rampage. You'll get all those along the way to that 1 gold trophy. This abduction target is part of the gold trophy for the special abduction targets. The 50 online matches is, of course, part of the 100 online matches. Complete all versus matches. This just means play 1 full online match of each of the 4 game modes. Then you have to destroy the saucer in Armageddon. This one is best done by using the Disintegrator Ray. Then you have to kill a player using a chicken. You can do this on Turnip Seed Farm. Just do most of the damage to them and then PK throw a chicken at them to kill them. You have to complete a local match in each of the 4 game modes, as well as an online match in each of the game modes. So you have to finish 1 local match and 1 online match in each of the 4 game modes. The online matches, of course, can be boosted. The local ones can be done with a second controller, but the second controller doesn't actually have to do anything, so you certainly don't need a second player there. You have to be the first person to get onto a UFO in Armageddon. Just if you're boosting this, it's going to come no problem. Just run straight for a beacon and get in. You have to use PK to stun another player. All you have to do is throw something at another player with PK, and it will stun them. Then you have these wins and finishing matches and stuff. On the local matches, you have to kill a player using the UFO, so just get into the UFO and then just kill another player. I would suggest using the Sonic Boom. Fly 99 meters or more using the jetpack in a single flight, by the way. This one's very easy to do if you just load up Abduction on Turnip Seed Farm, as you can jump and fly off of the barn that you start on and knock it out very easily. Steal a score cube off a dead player, just kill another player and pick up their score cubes before they respawn. Drown in water, that's pretty self-explanatory. This one, go into a match of Rampage and wait until soldiers start spawning that shoot the rocket launchers at you, and catch one out of the air with PK. Get stunned by another player, just get hit by another player's PK attack, that's simple enough. This one, you have to kill another player while they are stunned. You can either do this on the ground or in the saucer, which it's actually a little bit easier to do it in the saucer. Stun them first and then shoot them a couple times with the Sonic Boom, and you'll knock out both trophies pretty much at the same time. For stunning another player in the UFO, this one is a little bit trickier because you have to pick up something with the saucer's Abducto Beam and then fling it at somebody. It's a little bit inconsistent and inaccurate overall. So just do keep that in mind. It's a little bit inconsistent, a little bit inaccurate. It might take a few tries to actually hit somebody. If you have multiple boosting partners, just have them stand, somewhat close together, but slightly apart so that there's a better chance of hitting one of them. And I would suggest shooting from a little bit further away because it seems to be slightly more accurate from a little bit further away. You have to use the Quantum Deconstructor, which is also just a little bit trickier than we expected it would be. You have to destroy buildings as well as specially marked targets such as cop cars on Turnip Seed Farm as well as mechs to get little pieces of like green energy that charge the deconstructor, and once it gets up to at least 100 ammo, you can use it to destroy stuff. The problem is you only get the saucer for about 30 seconds and you have to do it in a single usage. You have to reach the drone in a race after another player is already finished. This one's pretty easy. There's a 10-second grace period after someone finishes a race that anyone else can jump through. So very easy to boost and could probably be done naturally if you can find anyone that's actually doing a race. Revive another player. This one requires you to specifically play online co-op modes and just simply revive another player. This one you just have to throw the wrong object into the abduction beam, so just throw anything that isn't the targeted object, like a car or something, into the beam. This one is best done on Rampage on Turnip Seed Farm. Just switch the ion detonator, make sure you have the ion cortex or ion vortex coil, I think is what it's called, as your mod, and you should be able to get it about like 30 seconds to a minute into the match. Just round up a bunch of enemies and shoot it. It'll suck them all in and then kill them with the explosion. Shouldn't be a problem. Have a total of 10 deaths between all players in a single match. Go into Abduction on Turnip Seed Farm and have, or no, not Abduction, Armageddon, and have everyone just continually run into the pond and drown themselves, and you will easily get this. Finally, play an online match without any upgrades. That's pretty self-explanatory. However, this seems to be the only partially bugged trophy in the game, because for this one, it seems that if any player in the lobby has the thing equipped, or at least if the host has it equipped, it won't unlock the trophy. It's the only trophy we had any trouble unlocking from like a technical standpoint. So yeah, overall, easy platinum trophy can be done in like 5 to 8 hours, depending on how many people you are boosting the game with. The game supports up to 4 players in online and 2 in local. So just keep all that in mind. It's a solid game to play. It's also only costs like 2 cents here in the US in the North American store. So you might as well pick it up. It's basically a free platinum at that point, just as long as you have a boosting group. And then the other game I've been working on heavily is Saul 2. And since I don't really remember what I talked about with this last time, and I have a much better understanding of the game, I'll go ahead and go through everything I've done so far. So everything through here is story related from the end of different chapters. So it's like this is chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6, and chapter 7. You have 3 encounters with the standard Bullish Man, which is going to be done in, I want to say, chapter 1, chapter like 4, and chapter maybe 7. Something like that. So, or no, that one's chapter 6, I believe. Basically, though, those are all story-related and unmissable. Then you have several more story-related trophies. Everything through this is story-related. Zeke's boss fight is in chapter 6. Donovan, you fight him twice in chapters 7 and 8. Barry is just a random story encounter that happens. It's not actually a boss fight. And then Joseph is, you're going to get this trophy right at the end of chapter 8. Then you have to find all of the collectibles in the game. That's going to net you about a quarter of your trophies, is just finding all the collectibles. So you have 25 puzzle pieces, 7 Billy puppets, 50 case files, and 20 audio logs. So I would recommend following a collectible guide. There's a guy, it's called like An Addicted Gamer, I think is his name, on YouTube, that has collectible guides for all of the chapters. Chapter 2 does not have any collectibles, but all the other chapters do have them. The nice thing is the game has a chapter select feature, so if you do happen to miss any, I actually ended up missing one of the puzzle pieces because I misunderstood what the guide was saying. It wasn't the guide's fault, I misunderstood what he was saying, and I ended up missing one and had to go back and get it in chapter 5, but that wasn't too bad. It wasn't that far into the level. So then we have the puzzles. This is going to be, I would argue, maybe the most difficult part of the game, aside from just playing the game in general, because it's a really bad game. So first we have the point-to-point minigame. This one requires you to connect circuits by flipping circuits around, and you have to connect colors. So you have to connect a yellow starting point to a yellow ending point, And on later levels, it ups it to blue and green as well, so you might have to do 3. I don't remember what the best times are, but they're all in your pause, or not your pause menu, your select menu, and you can just scroll over to best times and see what you have to do. For point to point, the best place to do these is probably right at the beginning of chapter 5, as there's a puzzle. It is one that's going to require you to connect 2 sets of nodes, like 2 sets of colors. If you don't get the normal one earlier on naturally, you can get it here. But it's definitely the best place for the insane one because it's still only going to have 2 colors you have to connect, and it's literally a minute into the level, so if you screw up, you can restart very easily. The polarized circuits, you can do this in several occasions. I think Chapter 1 has one, and maybe Chapter 3, and then Chapter 5 has one that's not too far in. This one, you basically have to rotate circuits, but colors can't touch one another. It's a little bit hard to explain. You kind of have to play it to understand it. Kaleidoscope is another rotating circuit mini, or not even circuit, just rotating circles type of mini game, and they each are divided into 4 quadrants of different colors, and you have to make the same colors connect. It's not too bad. The best place to do this is at the beginning of Chapter 7, as there's one a couple of minutes into that chapter. The Jigsaw Box minigame I have not done yet. I think it's best done in Chapter 1. The weapons case, you can knock this out. You might get this one naturally just by playing. If not, you can knock it out fairly early into Chapter 5, like a good 5 minutes in. The dial puzzle, I think, is also best done on Chapter 1. And then the lights out minigame, you'll probably get the normal one naturally, but for the insane one, I would recommend going back to Chapter, I want to say it's Chapter 4, or, yeah, I think it's Chapter 4. That you can knock this one out because there's like 2 puzzles in a room together and there's a checkpoint the second you walk into the room, so there's not really any risk because if you don't get it, you can just restart the checkpoint. The lockpick on normal is going to come naturally. There's pretty much no way you're missing out on this one. For the insane difficulty, I recommend loading up Chapter 5 because there's a puzzle about 30 seconds into the level that you can do this on. This is done in Chapter 3. It's an optional person you can save. It just requires you to solve a simple little mini game. The eye surgery minigame is unmissable and story related. You have 2 trophies for playing the game on specific dates, being Halloween and Christmas, but you can change your internal clock settings. Then you have 2 ending related trophies. I would recommend making sure that Campbell survives his test at the beginning of the game, because this other trophy for having him not survive is apparently the default ending of the game. So apparently you just have to replay Chapter 8 once you have beaten the game once. And just, replay Chapter 8 through flashback chapter select, and you should get this trophy at the end of the chapter. I have yet to test that, and I really hope that's true, because I really don't want to have to play through this game a second time. It's not a good game. Then watch the credits. You can either do this at the end of the game, or you can watch them from the main menu. And finally, you have to enter the Konami code, which is probably going to be the last trophy I get, because it's simple enough. And because I don't really think there needs to be a lot of gameplay shown in this game, because it's not a good game. We're going to say that again. Unless I wanted to do one of the... Maybe I'll do one of the puzzles last. I don't know. Maybe that would be a little bit better to do last. So yeah, not a good game. Would not recommend playing it, but it's a solid 666. It's a good old shitter PS3 game. It's not the worst game I've ever played by any means. It's bad, but it's far better than a lot of the shovelware that's getting thrown out. And don't worry, I will be talking about the shovelware here in just a moment once our trophies are synced up. So, level 804, 87%, 24,649 total trophies, 665 platinums, 4,237 golds, 6,551 silvers, 13,196 bronzes. So, before I talk about plans for the upcoming week, I do want to talk about something interesting that's happening in the Sony and trophy world. Sony has actually spoken out about the influx of shovelware, aka jumping food games, vehicle journey games, stroking games, which, by the way, Stroke the Dog, of all things, has gotten like 7 free DLCs now, because reasons. We think that it's because on PSN profiles they started hiding shovelware, so you have to manually go and activate the ability to see it. But doing this allows it to appear in the DLC menu. However, in the DLC menu, they've also changed it now to where the DLC, you won't see some of these easy DLC things until you actually click on the DLC section of PSN profiles. So Sony has said that they're going to be cracking down on all this kind of shovelware. Now, I don't know how many different games this is going to involve. I'm sure it's going to involve the jumping food games and, these kind of games. But I do wonder how it's going to impact other indie games. Like, what's it going to do to, say, the autorific games? Because I know that Ghost is a really big fan of those games. But, they don't spam them. They don't release them that often. And they're really cheap, but they're also easy platinums. What about things like down there, like Finger Fitness, that are real memey? Are they going to do anything? Are they going to want to get rid of games like that? What about the OG Easy Platinum? My Name is Mayo, since that's technically press X to win kind of game, even though it's, vastly superior to any of the shovelware that comes out nowadays. And it's actually got like a story and stuff to it. So I'm wondering exactly what kind of shovelware is going to end up. What are they going to classify as shovelware, and what is going to specifically end up getting banhammered? Or exactly what kind of punishments are they going to get from it? And then there's also, what about companies like Ratalaika that still push out easy and quick platinum trophy games, but have been so heavily overshadowed by these new shovelware games? What about even Breakthrough Arcade Gaming? Because for a while they were the kings of it. But they only release one or two games a week now on Sundays, but they only have a North American and a European version, and only for the PS4, and only for 99 cents, and some of them actually do take some effort to get through. So I kind of wonder, what's going to be the cutoff, what's going to be the specific rules for this. They've given out like a list of rules and all, but just I don't know exactly how it's all going to be applied. I guess we'll have to see moving forward what they decide to do with all of that. But it is definitely a step in the right direction, and a step that could help to fix the problems currently occurring with trophy hunting. Even I saw a video on Sunday where Bad Driver did a 15-minute video of seeing how many platinums he could get in 15 minutes without any sort of stacking, no region stacking, no console stacking, or anything like that. And he still got 12, and I'm sure he could have done it faster if he was playing on the PS5, where sometimes the trophies like pop a little bit faster, or the platinum shows up after as like the first trophy that pops if you do it quickly enough. So I'm sure he could have done more or done them faster, but he got like 12 in 15 minutes, and that's not really even surprising at all. I did 100 in less than 4 hours, and it really wasn't a lot of effort put into that, because it was mostly jumping games and vehicle games and just stuff like that. And of course, the last half an hour of it was My Name is Mayo. I would have done it in 3.5 hours without that. So it is a good step forward. I'm glad to see Sony doing it. I'm just curious to see exactly what they will end up doing and what extent things will go through, but we will have to see. So as for my plans for this coming week, this week and next week are going to be very much different from normal, because this week is going to be fairly normal because I'll try to stream at least once this week, but I don't know what day it'll be on. Because on Saturday, like 5 a.m. on Saturday, I got to get up because I am leaving for vacation with my family. We're going to our favorite vacation site, that being Aruba, and of course I will be vlogging all of it. I'm really going to try to do a few things that are different down there than what we normally do, and try to be a little more confident in my vlogging, and try to get, even more footage, making it the best series of vlogs yet. But I'm going to be down there from this coming Saturday, so I'm leaving for the airport at like 5 a.m. on Saturday for a 7 a.m. flight. And then I will get back very late the following Sunday. So for that whole week, there won't be any streams, but there will be a few videos pre-recorded and set to go up. During that time period, it'll probably all be, platinum trophy videos, so I can clean out my backlog a little bit. I'm going to have to work pretty heavily on editing those this week, so I probably won't be online too terribly much. Probably about the only game I'm going to be playing this week is going to be Saw 2, just finishing it up. All I have left is the normal and insane difficulty levels of 2 of the mini games, as well as the Play on Christmas, the Konami code, and finishing Chapter 8 a second time. So as far as I know, that's all I should have left to do. I'm not looking forward to finishing Chapter 8 a second time, by the way. It had an extremely painfully obnoxious puzzle in it. It's the one where you have to go around the carousel and the red light kills you instantly, even if Even if you don't touch the red light, sometimes you just die instantly because it thinks there was a red light there. Yeah, that was not a fun time. But along with all of that, I don't know if I'll be playing any other games, really. I'll be probably focusing quite a bit on editing. But I will say, I am having an absolute blast with the Fallout 3 All Trophies playthrough. That is some of the most fun I've had with trophy hunting in a while. Like, I am just enjoying the absolute hell out of that series, and it seems like you guys are giving it pretty positive reception so far, so that's good. But I am just so heavily enjoying that. It is so much fun so far. I mean, Fallout 3 is one of my favorite all-time games, and getting to experience it again, platinum it a second time. Maybe I can even make a video in the new style of trophy videos that are popping up all over YouTube once it's done. I'll probably end up doing that, but we'll have to see. So I'll try to stream that once this week, but otherwise I'm going to be focusing a lot on editing stuff and getting everything pre-recorded and pre-uploaded and pre-edited and everything for my week when I'm gone. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video, guys. So please like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. As for other trophy plans, for the month of December, I will finish Saw 2, of course. I will go back and finish Conan Exiles. That's like a 2 to 3 hour thing. I can knock that out once I get back from vacation. And finish off those Uncharted 3 trophies, whatever's left of it that I can do. And Far Cry 6 will probably get bumped up onto the list again because it's getting more DLC. And if I have time, we go back to the Division 2 and get it started. After that, in January, GTA 5 and Dead Island Riptide knock out the only remaining online games I have left that I want to do that are on my list or just want to do in general. Hopefully I have Division 2 done by then. Never have to touch online again unless there's a game that me and the boosting guys like actually really want to go play. And then, of course, in, February and beyond, Outer Worlds, COD Classic, Shadow of the Colossus, and other, random old games. So yeah, that backlog is slowly getting knocked down further and further. And, I mean, again, I'm really enjoying this whole new series that I'm doing. I think it's been a lot of fun so far, and I hope you guys are too. So, yep, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys later this week for more videos, hopefully one stream, and then I will be having a nice week of vacation.